All right, good morning, good morning. I am actually gonna go ahead and take a picture first because I forgot to do that yesterday. So I'm gonna do that first before we even go. Okay, so I posted, just like I told you guys, I posted in Thrive Strong the self-development post. So as you're adding new people and as you're growing your business and adding people to your promoter network, that sort of thing, if they're looking for self-development ideas, they should be able to go in Thrive Strong, simply type in on the search bar self-development, and then be able to pull up some things that we've all read that we would recommend. Okay, I don't want to put something there that I read and I was like, you know, instead I'm going to put things there that I got something out of and I notes on and I refer back to that sort of thing. So if you haven't had a chance to do that, I put some on there this morning, but Joe was still asleep when I was asked about it. So I haven't snuck back in there because his desk is in our bedroom. So I got to sneak back in there because a lot of my books make it to his desk area, our library, so to speak. So, so at any rate, if you haven't had a chance to do that, then make sure you go in if you've read something great, or maybe it's a podcast or something motivational that you go back to that you love, something you subscribe to on YouTube maybe. I'm going to mute you. Good. Okay, then be sure and put it there, okay? So 3 steps in stories. Definitely always start your day off like that, whether it is just posting your first step and then going back later, doing step 2, later step 3. Make sure you're doing that inside of Instagram and inside of Facebook. I do not have mine married because Facebook recognizes that as a robot and it's going to mess up your algorithms. So good morning, Jessica. I'm glad you're able to get on. Okay, good. I'm saying that because she messaged me this morning and taught me something. So I'm going to have her come on in a little bit and share it. So, so at any rate, one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about this morning as we're doing this is and I'm going to go ahead and kind of jump right into this, is I'm going to jump into hashtags. Okay. I don't know if you are using hashtags in your story or not, but you should be, especially inside of Instagram. Okay. Mainly inside of Instagram. What you can do, and I tried it this morning, this is something I learned yesterday, is go in and put your hashtags on your story. So for instance, this morning I put my devotional and I put my captions. Well, what I put on my hashtag was my location. I actually put Lakeland, Florida, just because that demographic is bigger. Actually, no, I didn't. I put Auburndale, Florida on there. And also I put the author of the book. Okay. So anybody that reads her or follows her is going to see that content in my story. So, but what you do, you don't post it big and bold, literally make it as small and as tiny as you can, and then scooch it way down in the right-hand corner. They can't even see it, but it's there. So that's a trick way to get people to see that so that it pops up for them and it's not out there loud and clear kind of thing what you're doing. You can do the same thing with any hashtag that you put on there. So that was something that I learned that I wanted to pass on to you because I was like, oh my gosh, that's brilliant, because I don't have to put it out there loud and proud like that. So, because a lot of times, I don't know about you guys, but I worry about what to put on stories versus what to put in my content. My content, I can do all day long. That's not hard for me. But my stories, I'm like, all right, what else can I do there? What else can I, make it fun with, whatever. Heather had a really good, I saw on her page yesterday, a TikTok of her steps 1, 2, and 3. And people will like that because it's something different than just a plain photo. And I don't know, I watched a video yesterday and it was of a leader. And they literally had their daughter on there. No, it was their son. And I swear he was probably 10 years old, teaching the group of leaders how to use TikTok. And it was like the greatest thing ever, because I can tell you that Baron and Veronica, all the TikToks they've been doing, Braley has walked them through every single step of how to do it. and she knows all about hashtags. She knows all about these. And I'm just like, oh my God, how does she know all this? She has more followers than I do, and she gets more comments on her stuff than I do. So isn't it funny? But if we teach our kids how to do this, they're going to have this massive network. Actually, if they teach us how to do it, maybe we'll have a massive network. But man, if we had known that when I was younger, we would already have these huge, massive networks. So, so if your kid knows how to do it, nothing wrong with letting your kid help teach something. I think that's brilliant in order to do that. So I just thought that was really cute. But all right, so one thing I wanted to talk to you about this morning was growing your network. And one of the things, actually, I watched a video yesterday and this morning. I spend hours doing research every single day on what topic I feel like we need to, kind of chat about. And one of the things that was said was that growing your network is, it's kind of like going to Target, and at 8 o'clock in the morning, Target opens, and then they let 200 people in, and then they lock their doors. Are their sales going to grow? No. If they're not opening their doors to new people, then they are where they are. They're only going to do what those 200 people are going to do. And if they've already had those 200 people purchase something, then guess what? They're not going to go anywhere. So growing your network literally is the single most important thing that you can spend your time doing every single day. And so that's why I wanted to kind of talk about this, because that really, I was like, wow, that's brilliant. And whenever you think about the lulls that you have in your business, go back and look to see when the last time was that you grew your network, and how did you grow your network, and how often you were growing your network. I know for me personally, I'm committed to growing my network on Instagram. And I want to just read you something real quick, and I want to tell you why. 12 reasons why Instagram is dominating Facebook. Okay. Instagram allows you to reach up to 100% of your followers, and Facebook only allows you to reach 6%. Instagram's engagement is 58 times more than Facebook, and 120 times more than Twitter. And these are just statistics in this book that I'm reading. 96% of marketers use Facebook, only 36% use Instagram. So if you guys have been scared of using Instagram, if you are scared to get started in Instagram, I just want to let you know that it is going to be worth it. It's not going to be something that is going to happen overnight as far as getting your followers, but it's going to be a process. And I'm not saying it's going to be an easy process. I mean, like, you're going to have to spend some time digging into that every single day. And because there's so many limits on Facebook, it's a lot harder to get a follower on Facebook than it is on Instagram. And I want you to understand that just because you follow someone on Instagram doesn't mean they're going to follow you back. Okay. The way you get them to follow you back is one word, and it's engagement. You have to engage with people. Okay. And so, and that's why we're calling this, it is not network marketing. This is relationship marketing. So we learn people, know, love, and trust you first, before they trust you. So, and then you can talk about your business or, what have you. But remember, we're always creating a pull rather than a push. So we're not about, cold market, the cold messaging and things like that. And remember that with your content, people don't watch TV for the commercials. Okay. And if your content is full of lots of commercials about your business or about your product, that's why people are going to scroll. So 80-20 is the rule there. 80% should be about your life, your 5 things. What 5 things do you stand for? That should be what your content looks like. And then 20% is when we sprinkle in that thrive. And so that statistic was really good, I thought. Because otherwise, and especially if somebody goes to your page on Instagram, because you have 0 to 5 seconds for them to decide whether to follow you or not. And we talked about that yesterday as far as what your grid looks like. If you go to your Instagram page and you look at your grid there, and it says mostly everything about your business or about your product, you might want to kind of change that. You might want to change it to, who is this person? Do I like them? Do I relate to them? Okay, that's what you want your Instagram to look like. Okay, so that's something that you want to think about as far as going into this. So So if we're going to be using hashtags, you have to understand what are people going to see once they get to your wall, okay? And that's that top 6. I want to tell you that if your account is marked public, you may as well not use hashtags or anything else, because people are going to come to your wall and they're not going to see anything except for what's on your bio. So, so you definitely want to have your account a public account, so that you're going to get more followers that way. And it's not that I never follow someone that has a private account, but I am probably 90% less likely to. I'll say that, because I can't even tell anything about this person. Okay, so so just make sure that you're understanding how that psychology works behind that. Okay, so does anybody have a hashtag generator that they use? If you do me a favor and pop it in chat. I have a couple, and I downloaded one last night. That was HashMe. Does anybody have HashMe? No? Okay. That's not the one I use either. And the reason is, so far, okay, Tagomatic, perfect. Does that one give you the amount of, does it give you the amount beside it? Tagomatic? Yeah, okay. So that's an important thing. Let me tell you what the one I have does. And HashMe may do it, but I think you have to use the paid version of that one. So the one I have is called Hashtag Expert. And I like it because when I pull it up, you're not gonna be able to see that, but beside each of the things that I type in there, it gives the amount of posts that using. The purpose of you using the hashtag is for your post to pop up underneath that hashtag. Hang on. Am I back? Okay. My kids are all on school, so we're all using the same internet right now. So unfortunately, sometimes that's going to happen. But the purpose of that hashtag is for your post to pop up if people are searching that hashtag. Well, if you use one of the ones that are bigger than 500, then you're going to have like literally seconds, because everybody is using that one. So you're not going to gain momentum by using that hashtag. So I think hashtag generators are great. They have to pertain to the picture that you're posting. And one of the tidbits is to always put your location on there. So if you're using a hashtag generator, I know what I do personally is I go back and I delete probably half of them. And then I go in and type the ones that I have looked at and that have less than 500. Okay, so that's something to do. And you may want to do that before you do, like if you know what you're going to post, then go ahead and go in your hashtag generator and pop that up and see if the one I have is called, let me go back, hashtag expert. And so, because it gives you the numbers, and like I said, I think HashMe does, but I think that, I think you got to use the paid version of that one, so I'm not sure. So.
Was that 5,000 or 500?
500,000, 500K.
Okay.
So
I missed that part because you were frozen, yeah. But that's what I was also told.
Okay. And so, and that's just statistically speaking. So you can use the other ones, but you're probably not going to get a lot of people that pop on your page. Okay. And when people are popping on your page, that's your potential follower, right? Those are the people that that might follow you if they go to your grid and be like, okay, what is this chick all about? Like, what is she, why did she use that hashtag? And like, because they're doing the same thing you are as far as trying to get followers or trying to get engagement. Okay. So, so understand the psychology behind the hashtag there. Okay. All right. So, posting your hashtag in comments, it doesn't just have to do with it being pretty. You don't want your post to show up and you don't want to have a zillion hashtags on your post. So you want to be able to click on a post and you want to read the content. So a lot of times psychologically, whenever you have all those hashtags in your post, people won't stop to read either. So that's just a tidbit of information there. Make sure that you're going down and you're putting it in comments instead, okay? Once you post those hashtags, don't just post them and go away. The object of the hashtag is that you're going to click on every single one of those hashtags, and you're going to go look at people that use the same one. And that's where you're going to add your following. Okay, so you're going to follow people. My goal, I will tell you straight up, I am going to follow 50 people every single day. Okay, and you don't have to follow 50. You can follow 10, you can follow 20. You don't want to follow too many because you're going to get locked down by Instagram if you do mass following. That's never a good idea. But I am going to go in and do that every single day. Okay, and then later on a different one, I can teach you kind of how to clean that up, to kind of clean up your ratio, but it's super simple to do that too. So what I'm doing is I'm going to be following people every single day by clicking on those hashtags that I'm using. And I'm going to go in and I'm going to click on, if you want to pick a number, click on 6 for every single hashtag that you click on. Okay. And see what you think about those people. And like I said, I literally move on. Can you hear me? Denise? Yes. Okay. It clicked on Denise. So that's why I was like, uh-oh, they can't hear me. So go in and click on those people. And like I said, if I go to people and if their face or their Instagram is private, a lot of times I don't even mess with those. I move on to the ones that aren't. Okay. And that's just me. So I already talked about hashtags and stories. I thought that was an excellent thing that I learned today. A lot of you probably have been using stories. If anybody has any other things they want to add in about hashtags and stories, by all means, unmute yourself and share. I am all about, go ahead.
I have a quick question you were just asking. So you're literally clicking on and following 50 people a day. Okay. All right, so you're engaging in their comments or on their posts, and you're also following them.
Yep.
Okay.
So I'm going to go in, I'm going to like a couple of their pictures, and then I'm going to go in, and you can also look at their story from there. Okay, so sometimes it's easier to engage on a story than it is maybe on what they post in their content. Okay. And like I said, you can pick any number you want to. You know me, I'm like a go big or go home kind of person. So if I am going to commit to doing it, then I am going full force with it. I'm going to put my content on Facebook, but I'm going to spend less time there and more time on Instagram, because I wholeheartedly believe that there's a lot more opportunity there than there is on Facebook. So I'll move on to Facebook in a little bit as far as groups go and that sort of thing. But posting your location is a huge thing. Don't put your address or anything crazy like that. That's just like a safety no-no. I think everybody knows that. But every time you go somewhere, right now we're going nowhere, I know. But coming up, I promise you, we're all going to be going lots of places because we are sick and tired of being at home. As soon as they do that, like I told Joe, I'm like, I just want to get in the car and drive somewhere. Like I just can't even stand it. And I don't mean any place local. Like I want to go somewhere. But hashtag where you are, because everybody that hashtags that location is going to see that. Hashtag your 5 interests. Like I love hiking. I love things in Tennessee, certain things. I love Kate's Cove. I love, all these things. So look up those hashtags, and that's where you can find people to follow as well. Okay. And then same, you want to engage in that, in those hashtags that you're doing. Okay. Let's see. Make sure your hashtags are relevant to whatever picture you're posting. That's a big deal too. So don't just hashtag, and you can use hashtags on Facebook. You can search hashtags on Facebook. But it's again, it's totally different than it is on Instagram. Okay. So if I use a hashtag on Facebook, I might use 1 or 2 versus using one on Instagram. Okay. Search your 5 things. I kind of already touched on that. I know some of you are struggling with your 5 things. And what I think is really cool about that is I had no idea how talented Krista Denmark was at writing until yesterday. And I told Rosa Cruz, like, she needs to start like doing Facebook lives or Instagram lives on this ethnic cooking that she does. Like, people are interested in that, and that's letting people in your life. But we talked about this yesterday as far as using different different apps to write things on. Krista has a God-given gift in writing. Like, y'all, she's good. And how neat is it that she can apply this so that, you know, people, like, she's inspired, like the stuff she writes, like, I would follow her. But she just has to figure out how to use it, you know, in her content. So use your word swag, pop some of those words in there and make it authentically yours. And one thing I learned yesterday that I want to pass on is that if you're using inspirational quotes or different things like that, be sure that you're making them yours. So in other words, don't just snapshot them, because they're encrypted in the back, even when you do that from Pinterest. And you're going to lose some of the luster whenever you post those. So it's super important that you go in and you drop those in WordSwag, or you could even use Pic Collage, whatever you want to use. There's a lot of different apps you can use for that. Okay. It's really cool when you use a picture of yourself and then maybe fade yourself out in the back and then write something, because then it's not necessarily about you in the picture. It's about the content that you wrote. People are more apt to read that. Okay. So, so that's really a neat thing. If you want people to follow you back, you absolutely 100% have to engage. End of story on that one. Like, there is no question. You 100% have to engage with them. Otherwise, because let's go to Facebook for a second. If you friend request somebody, they're wondering, well, how do I know her? And why is she even friend requesting me? And sometimes they will message you and say, hey, do I even know you? You know? And so, and they're going to go and snoop your page. And if they snoop your page and see Thrive all over it, they're going to be like, oh, well, there you go. She's trying to sell me something. And that's not what we're doing. Okay. And same thing inside of groups. We don't want to go in there and friend request everybody in a Facebook group, because that, you know, our intention, I want to say it like this. If you're in a group and you're active in the group and you're commenting, okay, you're adding things because you're commenting on someone's post. So you're adding value in that way to that person. You're not there to get a customer. You're not there to get a promoter. You're there to get a relationship. Okay. So think of it that way versus thinking of it as you're there to get a customer. You're there to get a promoter. I'm not following people on Facebook or on Instagram to get a customer or to get a promoter. I'm following them to get a relationship. Okay. Because I know that that is step one in this. And if I don't have a relationship with them and they go in and order, chances are they're going to walk right in the front door and right out the back door. Okay. We know because we have that happen, right? And so it's going to be much easier to follow up with somebody and to check on somebody if I know who they are. And so I want to know who they are before that even happens. Yes, we have people that go in and order and we're like, I don't even know who those people are. So then it's weird, right? It's awkward. So, and we love those, like, don't get me wrong. But then you got to go in and you got to do your due diligence and figure out who they are and, you know, enable that so that you can, you know, have that relationship for follow-up, because maybe that is your next promoter. Maybe they ordered as a customer and maybe that is somebody that's going to turn into something. Okay. Jessica, do you want to pop in and share what you were talking about?
Yeah. Okay, so a lot of this kind of just goes along with what you were saying anyway. Hang on just a second. I need you to take that over there. Kids at home. So I've been playing with Instagram just because I had a following that just wasn't maybe organic is the right word. It didn't feel like me. So I saw that Theresa posted Gary Vee's stuff earlier. He has this thing called the $1.80 rule. So what I will do is I will go on to Instagram and I will search hashtags. And I just make sure that those hashtags, I actually have a list of 10 hashtags that work within my, I guess, 5, what I call pillars, but my 5 things. And a lot of those things are kind of based on like who I was when I needed Thrive, because I feel like that's kind of hitting at people's I guess they're pain points, but things that I can connect to. So I have like anxious kiddos because I have an anxious child. I have tired mom because I was exhausted. But then I also have things that I can offer value in right now as well. So, you know, I do fit mom, God's girl. Anyway, so I have a list of 10. So I will go on to Instagram and I will search all 10 of those. And it takes a minute at first. It takes some time to get used to. But like whenever I search anxious kiddos, it'll come up at the top on Instagram and it'll say top or it'll say recent. Whenever you search the hashtag, I always go with recent because if I hit top, then I get those people who have a lot of followers, and that's not really my network right now. So if I go to recent though, then I use the top 9 that I see under that hashtag. And I offer my 2 cents on the top 9. So that's why it's called the $1.80, because if you offer your 2 cents on the top 9 for 10 hashtags, then you get to the $1.80. So I will go under those. Obviously, going back to what Theresa was saying yesterday, what I say has to be authentic. You know, I'm not going anywhere talking about Thrive. I'm building relationships there. So anyway, it takes some time at first, but it does get faster. And I notice that whenever I do it consistently, my followers grow. But also the messaging back and forth, getting in the inboxes, that grows as well, because then we're getting on each other's stories. And it's people that I can actually offer value to outside of the business world. So it really is just building those relationships. So anyway, that's that.
I love that. And I popped on there this morning and I researched it. And it had step-by-step things, and I'll post that. Maybe I'll post that below my reminder for today. I'll post the step-by-step, his formula for that, because holy, that's a lot of engagements that you can be doing every single day that are totally organic engagements. And I love the idea. I love what you said there, where you're doing 5 of who you were before Thrive. That is brilliant, because like as soon as you said that, I'm like, oh my gosh, that is like, for me, that is my ideal customer. Like that's who I was before. So, and I never thought about it in that way, because Denise and I were talking yesterday and she's been working with somebody, and what was it that she said? She asked you the question, who is your ideal customer? And what was her answer?
Yeah, she said that she had asked me to work with my bio because you want it to not be broad and you want it to be specific. And she goes, so who are you trying to reach? And I was like, everyone. And she said, if you're talking to everyone, you're talking to no one. So she's like, you have to figure out who you want as your ideal customer. And so after talking to her, she goes, okay, you can have 2. So for me, my ideal customer is somebody who I can relate to. And that is maybe a single mom that was very young, who has now become successful and struggled, but that would be my ideal customer who I'd want to possibly help with the opportunity side. And then the other ideal customer would be just, gosh, what was we're talking about? I just went blank. Basically just somebody, a woman that's 50 years old, you know, so more just to relate to myself. We were throwing in massage therapist into that, but she said just to really, when you're doing your content, you want to be speaking to that ideal customer. Mm-hmm. So.
Yep. Perfect. And I love that, because so many times you're questioning what your content should be. And I think if you understand who you're talking to, then that kind of helps answer that question. So, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but this is all like coming to, like, this is making me so happy. I can't stand myself, because for so long, it's like, it's a chore to post. It's a chore to figure out comment. It's a chore to, you know, and now I'm like, okay, it's clarity of, okay, who I'm talking to, who I'm trying to, like, you know, who am I speaking to? And I love what Jessica said. Like, that is so simplified for me, because who was I before Thrive? Think of 5 things that you were before Thrive. Oh my gosh, like those, and those are the people that you can comment on, because you know, you are so relatable to them, it's not even funny. So anyways, so I took notes too. I'm going to take these notes and I'm going to go, and to me, my IPA for every day is going to be, number 1, to start every single day building that network. Okay. And then, like I said, we can do things later on about how to decrease your following amount. We talked about that a little bit yesterday, about how we need to fix our ratio. But one thing I do want to say really quick, and then I'm gonna let you guys go in case you want to jump on Leanne's. I don't know who's teaching that one today. But this is the book I'm reading right now. It's called Instagram Secrets. And if you are new and you are struggling, order this book on Instagram, because I started reading it yesterday and I'm literally halfway through the book, if that tells you anything. And it spells it out for you. It tells you how to make your bio. It tells you how to, like, every single portion of it. And it is simple. And that's what it talks about, is everybody gets really overwhelmed with Instagram, and they shouldn't. It is like the easiest thing. It is so user-friendly, it's not even funny. But there's so many elements to it that it's scary to you, and then that's uncomfortable, and then guess what? You don't do it, and you don't do it consistently. But I will tell you that one of the things they say in here is that it is not going to be easy to get your following. So you have to commit to doing it every single day. And one thing I do want to tell you is they highly, highly suggest that you put content in your page 2 to 3 times a day, not 1. Okay. And I know you guys have heard that differently, but, and until you get to 10,000 followers. Okay. So once you get to 10,000 followers, it kind of starts clicking along as far as you getting followers. But until you get to that point, we're in the growth stage. Okay. So I want you to understand that when you hear that. Okay. So anyways, pop off of here and join Leanne's if you want to join hers. I love all the opportunities that we have to learn and collaborate and share. And if you guys learn something from hers, by all means, bring it back, because this is our team and this is our community, and that's what we want to do, is learn together. Okay. So, all right, you guys have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you.